So what's better than a turkey sandwich on the day after Thanksgiving? Oh, Black Friday, of course.
You are Locked On A's, your daily Oakland A's podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Come to think of it, the sandwich actually might be better. Hope you're having a great day after Thanksgiving. I sure am. It is another episode of Locked On A's. Been waiting all day to get into this. This should be a fun one, so thanks for tuning in and, of course, making us your first listen every single day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcast and on YouTube, too. All part of the Locked On Podcast Network. That's your team every day. And today's episode is brought to us by FanDuel. FanDuel's all into the football season, and why not? It is a great time of year, and it's a great time for you to join FanDuel if you don't already belong. How about this? Yeah, you make a $5 bet, money line, if you're a new customer, and you win, and you get $150 in bonus bets from FanDuel. It's true. And they bring you this episode today all about the A's and how they've done on Black Friday over the years. First things first, I was always curious, how did Black Friday start? Well, I did a little research, and let me tell you what I found out. Like the Athletics, Black Friday started in Philadelphia back in 1952. And I kind of wondered, well, what does it all mean? Is it negative or is it positive? Well, it started off being negative, and the reason why is because they chose to take the day after Thanksgiving, which would be the day before the big Army-Navy game in Philly, and use it as the unofficial kickoff for Christmas shopping, which of course it is. But it was bedlam in Philly. Cops were working like 14, 15-hour days. There were people shoplifting everywhere. So it wasn't the great Black Friday that we all associate with now. That happened later. In fact, in 1961, they tried to change it from Black Friday to Big Friday, and it just never stuck. But they tried. Anyway, Black Friday ended up being something completely different. They decided to say, instead of what really happened, let's just say that if you're not making money and your business is bad, you're in the red. But then in one day, the day after Thanksgiving, sales are so good, you're in the black. Get it? Black Friday. Yeah. So I never knew. I always wanted to know, how did that all start? And that's how I found out. Hey, my name's Wayne Coy. Thanks for being along. It is another episode of Locked On A's, your team every day. And I thought we'd go back in history today and look at some of the Black Friday-esque deals that the A's have been able to do. The big steals, the big deals, the ones where you got home and you're like, I got a big screen TV for $20, the baseball equivalent of that. So I just went through, and they're not necessarily in any order at all, although I did take three that I think are maybe the best ever, and I set them aside, so we'll do those at the end. But let's just kind of go through some of the Black Friday deals that the A's have been able to pull off over the years. If you're like me, you're a Cocoa Crisp fan. Now, for my wife, Nancy, it's because they share a birthday, November 1st. For me, it's the afro. It's the ability to, seems like, always be up when the A's need a walk-off, Cocoa Crisp. But you know how it started, right? 2010, free agent signing. How much did the A's give him? Well, the Royals decided to move along. So the A's came in and signed him to a 2-year deal, actually a 1-year deal to start off with. And then after that, there was a succession of deals. A 2-year deal followed the 1 year. But yeah, the first year was $5.3 million. Not bad. Plus a team option, even better. And he stayed for 6 more years after that. Of course, his contracts always seem to reflect what happened on the field the year before. And like I said, just a hero when you needed it. Coco, with the big walk-off single, of course, in the 2012 ALDS. That was awesome in Game 4, forced to Game 5. We didn't win it, but we would have never even gotten there had it not been for Cocoa Crisp. So there you go. That's one. Got another one kind of around the same time. And this one's interesting because it's sort of a two-headed Black Friday deal because we didn't get one player, we got two to sort of share a role. And by doing that, I think it worked out pretty good for us, at least for that one season. Again, 2012, free agency, Johnny Gomes and Seth Smith. One very good against right-handers, one very good against left-handers. So it's a classic platoon. In fact, if you take their stats and you put them together, this is basically what they had combined. It took two people to do it. 32 home runs, 102 RBIs, and a batting average of 254. Not bad at all. Johnny Gomes, of course, 1 year, $1 million. Seth Smith, same thing, although that ended up being $2.4 million extended. And then after that, actually worked out pretty good for the A's because they traded him to San Diego and they got Luke Gregerson, who was a big bullpen piece. But yeah, that trade, by the way, with Colorado to get Seth Smith, Guillermo Moscono, and Josh Outman. Okay. And Johnny Gomes, of course, free agent. So yeah, game tying double, game 4 in the 2012 ALDS. Same game Coco got the walk-off. That's Seth Smith. See, I could say it. Ken Korak can't, but I can. Seth Smith. There you go. How about Rajay Davis? He was always a fave, right? Exciting to watch. Good on the base paths. And a hitter, actually, at one point in his career. Somebody said, oh, well, Rajay didn't hit. Yes, he did. 2008, the A's claim him off waivers. Hello, Black Friday deal. Waiver deal, steals 25 bases in his first season in Oakland. 196 at-bats, too. So that's just a little sample size. Then after that, of course, 2009, he became the official leadoff hitter, hit 305, and snagged 50 stolen bases. Not bad at all. 52 RBI, too. Don't forget that. So Rajay Davis, great for the A's for a couple of years, traded to Toronto after the 2010 season, but for 2008 and 2009, he was our guy. Here's one for you, and I know you're going to love this one. 5 seasons with the A's. You believe in Stephen Vogt, don't you? Well, Stephen Vogt came to the A's. He was from Tampa, and the A's were able to buy him for the Black Friday price of $150K. That's it, to get Stephen Vogt, who ends up being quite a cog for the A's for the next few years. Like I said, played 5 seasons, 27-13 in games that Stephen Vogt played in that first season, which would have been the 2010 season. A big ALDS, of course, against Detroit, even though we lost. Kind of second verse, same as the first there. Yeah, and then 2015 and 2016, of course, Stephen Vogt was an all-star. And he gave those fans out in right field something to do other than just play their drums. One of the great chants of all time, Stephen Vogt. I believe in Stephen Vogt. I'm not going to do it, but you know it. Scott Kazmir. Yeah, you might be saying, what? Really? Yes. Kazmir, I think a lot of people forget, in 2014, quite a pitcher for the A's, 15-9, 3.55 ERA, and an all-star, just like Stephen Vogt. 2 years, $22 million. I think he earned every penny of that. A key member of that particular A's team that, again, went to the postseason. How about Big Sexy? Bartolo Colon. That's what I'm wearing. Bartolo Colon. Hey, first of all, fun to watch and redeeming for a bigger guy like me to be able to see somebody with that much weight on the mound and you're like, yeah, that's right. Have another sandwich. Bartolo comes from the Yankees. Well, free agent from the Yankees. 2012, $2 million, 10-9. 2013, another one-year deal. This time, $3 million. Finishes 18-6. Big Sexy Bartolo Colon. Grant Balfour. A lot of fun, especially when the rage would begin, right? Came from Tampa Bay. 2011, 2012, 2 years, $8.1 million. And again, an all-star. I don't know if you noticed there's a little trend here, but there is. A's players that end up making the all-star team, not bad when you get them for the low, low price of, right? 24 saves in 2012. It took a minute for Grant to become our official closer. In fact, he blew some saves early on, so they took him out of that slot, and then they put him back eventually, and he came through. 38 saves in 2013, and again, an all-star from Australia. Another Black Friday deal. It's a good one. John Jaha, remember him? Jaha. Well, John Jaha came from Milwaukee, and he had one great year, and you know who he had it for. That's right, the green and the gold. 1999, $1 million, 35 homers, and 111 RBI. Never came close to those numbers again, but it doesn't matter. All that matters is, did you get a good deal at the time? And for Billy Bean, David Forrest, and the gang, yes, they did. John Jaha, just fun to say. Not as fun as Seth Smith, but it's fun. Hey, how about more recently, Brent Rooker? Here's a guy who, just for whatever reason, didn't stick in any organization, showed a lot of promise. A's get him, bring him to camp, has a really good spring, breaks spring training on the roster for the A's. And again, here it is, an American League All-Star. How about that? Well, Kansas City DFA'd him. They let an all-star walk, and the A's pick him up. He was our lone representative at last year's all-star game, of course. You don't lose that many games and have a bunch of all-stars on your team. Yeah, but a waiver signing for 1 year, $725K minimum, and he makes the all-star team, that's a Black Friday deal, if I ever saw one. And then there's one that I think you probably figured I would definitely bring up. If I'm going to talk about John Jaha, how can I not mention another designated hitter / outfielder who could hit the ball out of the park? And you know I will, and you might know who it is. But you got to wait, because I got to tell you what's happening with FanDuel. Oh, yeah, it's football season, getting ready. I feel like the Kansas City Chiefs are in town. Patrick Mahomes is Patrick Mahomes. But for some reason, I don't know why, I just feel like this could be a good week for the Raiders. Am I going to bet on them? Okay. I was born, but it wasn't yesterday. But maybe you would. FanDuel, download the app. It's easy to do. Once you do that, sign up, get yourself a nice brand new account, and then check this out. A $5 bet, that's a money line bet. So in that game, for example, you say, Raiders or Chiefs are going to win. Don't worry about the spread, just a money line bet. And if you get that one right, your $5 bet turns into $150 in bonus bets right now. And you can sign up with FanDuel today. Do that and have some fun. Football season is just getting to that part where it's really, really good, right? You might as well have a good time. All the great bets, of course, that you can make there. Player props, they're there. By the way, if you're going to bet this prop, will Taylor Swift be at the game? No, she won't. Sorry, Travis. Well, Travis will be there, but she won't. She's on tour somewhere, I think. Anyway, spreads, of course, all of that for you with our buddies at FanDuel. Just go to FanDuel.com/lockedon and take advantage of that great deal. A $5 bet and $150 in bonus bets for you from FanDuel, official partner of the National Football League. Hey, Locked On's got something brand new, and I want to tell you all about that too. We've launched the very first ever national 24/7 streaming sports network. And they said it couldn't be done. Well, it has been, and you got to check it out. Locked On Sports, 24/7, covering the top sports stories, not just baseball, not just football, all the major sports, and of course, all the Locked On special editions that come from the Locked On hosts all around the country, and our Locked On channels like Locked On MLB, which we were just on last week. So, yeah. Get involved. Check it out. You're on YouTube. You want to definitely subscribe. It's Locked On Sports Today from Locked On, your team, every day. All right. Back at it. Black Friday deals. Did you figure out who I was talking about? Yeah, of course you did. After 10 years in the minor leagues, after Sports Illustrated said he was the greatest high school baseball player like ever, never played up to his potential, had a propensity to strike out a little bit, but boy, did he give us some thrills. If you were around for the A's in 07, 08, 09, and 2010, well, you know I'm talking about Jack Cust, Mr. Cust to you. A's needed a replacement DH. Mike Piazza was hurt. They'd had Jack before. They let him go. They bring him back. He's playing for the Padres AAA team, and the A's just basically bought him back. Bargain basement, Black Friday deal. Jack Cust ends up being the leading power hitter for the A's for all those years. 26 homers, 82 RBIs in the first year, 33 and 77 in 08, and in 2009, 25 homers, 70 RBI, and then in his final year, 13 and 52. Not bad for a guy that you basically got for nothing, for peanuts, as they say. Well, I told you that I have like three favorites. They're not necessarily the top three Black Friday deals that the A's ever did, but I think they're all pretty special, okay? Let's start off with this one, 1986. And the A's, looking for pitching, pick up a guy who had been released by the Baltimore Orioles. They said they had no room for him, not even on their Double-A team. So the A's bring this pitcher in, teach him a new pitch. It's called a forkball. And the rest is, as they say, history. Dave Stewart, who'd kind of bounced around, Phillies, Dodgers, Orioles, just couldn't stick for whatever reason. Great fastball, awesome slider, needed that other pitch. And boy, did he find it. The forkball ends up being the out pitch for Dave Stewart. And what does he do? Well, makes himself comfortable, and then after that, whips off not one, not two, not three, but 4 straight years with 20 or more victories. 87, 88, 89, and 90. One of the greatest pitchers ever to play for the Oakland A's. In fact, in 1987, he struck out 212, I think it was, but he became the first pitcher since Vida Blue, all the way back in 1971, to strike out 200 hitters. And, of course, he's a member of the A's Hall of Fame. It worked out really well for Stu. And Senior Smoke is the guy. Dave Stewart, what a pitcher. 1986, Black Friday deal. Here's another one. Dave Henderson, 1988, signs as a free agent. And the A's are looking for outfield help. Well, they got more than help. They got a regular, everyday center fielder. Dave, of course, had that postseason experience, too, with Boston, which became very, very important because you kind of want to go into the postseason with people who've been there before. And boy, did they get right into it. 1988, he joins the team. A's go to the World Series in 1988 with Hindu in center field. Well, he was there in 89 and 90 as well. Of course, it didn't work out in 88. Some guy named Gibson kind of screwed that up for us. 89, we beat the Giants and won the World Series. And then in 1990, I remember it well. I was out there in the bleachers watching the Cincinnati Reds school the A's. That one I just didn't see coming. But it happened. But Henderson on the team, averaging about 17 homers a year and somewhere around 60 RBI. Not bad at all, playing great defense as well, with that other Henderson playing next to him. Very nice. But again, Black Friday deal, A's sign him as a free agent for not a lot of money, and then keep him around 6 years with the Oakland A's. And I think I saved the best one for last, even though it was just kind of a one-hit wonder, meaning it was just one season, not like John Jaha, even better. This guy ends up being in the MVP conversation at the end of the year, and he was certainly a star already in his own right. All those years with the Chicago White Sox. Yep, 2006, we got the big hurt. Frank Thomas comes to Oakland, and what does he do? He hits 270, 39 home runs, 114 ribbies, 4th in the MVP vote at the end of the year, and of course leads the A's to an American League West title. They win the ALDS against Minnesota, but they don't win the ALCS. Kind of story of our life, right? Against Boston. 5 for 10, 2 home runs in the ALDS over Minnesota. Frank Thomas earns a spot. In fact, as far as I'm concerned, that might be the best pickup of all in terms of the Black Friday deals. Didn't see that coming. And boy, did he play well. Hey, we got birthdays today, and it's also kind of a cool day in A's history. We'll start with that. It was 1972, and the A's traded Matty Alou to the New York Yankees for a player named Rob Gardner. Okay? and another one named Rich McKinney. So Matty Alou to New York, Rich McKinney, and Rob Gardner to the A's in 72. Well, it's notable because just a year before, 1971, the A's made a trade with the New York Yankees with an Alou. It wasn't Matty, it was Felipe Alou, who you might remember as the Giants manager. Well, Felipe went to the Yankees in exchange for Rob Gardner. The same guy got traded to the A's consecutive years, both times for an Alou brother, and that's just nuts. This day in A's history, 1972, November 24th. All right, happy birthday today to a couple of guys who are actually on the A's right now. Tyler Soderstrom, happy birthday to the Pride. Do you know where he's from? You have any idea? Well, I do. Turlock, baby. The 209. Yeah. So Tyler, whose dad was a major leaguer, has an opportunity to be very special. Didn't quite play up to his potential this last year, but you just watch. Catcher and first baseman. I got a feeling he might end up catching more than he did last year. We'll have to wait and see. But, you know, you got Langoliers behind the plate, and you got Ryan Noda at first base. So that's what makes it a little difficult for Tyler to really, you know, make his name. But I got a feeling you're going to see some great things from him. Happy birthday to him, by the way. He's so young. He's just 22 today. Happy birthday, Tyler. Freddie Tarnok, one of the players we got back from Atlanta in the Sean Murphy deal. Well, he's having a birthday today. And, of course, a rough year last year. Ended up finally having to bag it all in. Season-ending surgery. He'd had some shoulder issues. Those flared up again. So he got the surgery not only on his shoulder, but also on his hips to be able to make him better for this coming season. So we've got high hopes for Freddie Tarnok. Great stuff. And only 25 years young today. Happy birthday to Freddie. Randy Velarde. You might remember him for the A's. He was a member of the 1999 and 2000 teams and then came back. It was kind of weird. He came back in, I think it was 2002. Yeah, 2002. He'd been away for 2 years, came back, and then retired. Never played from there on. But he's really best remembered as not only being a decent second baseman, but for turning an unassisted triple play. It was against the New York Yankees. How did he do it? Well, Shane Spencer hit a line drive, so there's one out, catches that. Then he tags Jorge Posada, who's coming from first base, out number 2, turns to the other side, and there's Tino Martinez trying to get back to the bag, steps on the bag, gets him forced out as well. So there you go, triple play. Not bad. Was it a force out? Might not have been. Might have had to tag him too. Anyway, triple play. You don't see that too often. Unassisted. No help needed. Thank you. And happy birthday to Randy Velarde, who is 61 years young today. And one more, Jared Parker, who truthfully, if it hadn't been for injury, might be one of those pitchers where we're saying, you know, one of the greatest to ever play for the A's. He, of course, came in 2012 and 2013 from the Arizona Diamondbacks and pitched right up to his potential, 13-8 in 2012, and he was 12-8 in 2013, and then started games 1 and 5 of the 2012 ALDS and also game 3 of the 2013 ALDS. He was going to be our opening day starter in 2014, but the injury bug came. And when it came, it just unfortunately didn't ever go away, which cut his career short. But Jared Parker, certainly a notable Oakland Athletic. And not only that, he's our friend on Twitter. So, hey, good to have you around, Jared. And happy 35th birthday, to you today. Well, that's going to do it for this Black Friday edition. Holidays, man. We got turkey sandwiches to eat. We got pumpkin pie in the fridge. I hope you do too. And that you enjoy this big, long holiday weekend, because that, at the end of the day, is what it's made for. Don't forget, again, very cool. This is a brand new network. Locked On has launched the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming network. And you want to be a part of that. Locked On Sports 24/7? Oh, yeah. Don't forget, it's national shows, local shows, and you can get them all. Just subscribe on YouTube to the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming network from Locked On. Who else? Okay. That'll do it for today. Again, thank you for the subscription. If you've subscribed here, awesome. If you haven't, make sure you do. Give us a thumbs up. That'll help spread the channel. And we'll be back again because that's what we do. So until next time, I'm Wayne Coy, and you keep on swinging.